This is Calabash TV, and we're happy to welcome to our studios here Carol Henry, who is the president of the St. Lucia National Cricket Association. Carol, good to see you.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Bernard, and our viewers, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Right, you're the newly elected president of the Cricket Association, so you're just starting your innings. It's a brand new game for you.
Well, the inning started already, but yeah, in terms of new, November 30th was the election held when I was elected into office, and it's been an interesting passage from then until now.
So Carol, first of all, we'll get to a few other things, but what inspired you? I mean, you were there, you play cricket, you follow cricket, you said, you wake up one day and say, listen, I need to make a run for this.
Well, inspiration is, it's almost like, didn't have to really think too much about it. It was also very natural in terms of it growing on me from my youthful days. I grew up in a time when cricket was, coverage was via radio, so there was no TV or visual, coverage of cricket. And we grew up in Miku, playing cricket using coconut branches and building nylon bags to make balls and all that kind of thing. That's my experience growing up in cricket, and it was a very popular sport in Miko as well. We have great names that came from that area, people like Marshall Francis. I don't know, you would probably remember him. And we have other individuals like his brother, Paul Francis, used to play, Melvin Paul, there's an Alphonse Thierry, fast bowler from Tiroshi, I don't remember his full name right now. Even Sir John, I saw Sir John play cricket on a Miko field.
Oh, really?
Yes, and unfortunately he was out for duck, but the point is I
didn't see much of him then.
No, not much. So it was almost inevitable, that it caught on in terms of my young impressionable days. And not just cricket, football as well. And moving on in terms of later in my life, I continue to be a lover of cricket and football. And when I came to work in Castries, the bank had its kiddie cricket program that they rolled out. And
so you worked at a bank? I
worked at Bank of Nova Scotia.
Right.
I'm a 33-year servant of Bank of Nova Scotia until I retired in 2018.
Oh, so there's something about the cricket presidents and bankers then?
Perhaps.
Because you succeeded in a banker?
Yeah,
right.
Perhaps.
But so did you play for your school or at that level?
I did.
Okay.
St. Mary's College.
So what were you at the time?
18.
You were a bowler, batsman, or wicket-keeper?
All-rounder.
All-rounder.
Not so much a wicket-keeping though, but I was considered a fiery pace bowler. Some of my alma mater come back and tell me stories about having me break the stumps. I don't even remember it, but, all that kind of thing, that kind of stuff that used to happen. Yeah, so I represented St. Mary's College at some school games. However, I didn't really go on further.
Was it by design, or you weren't interested in cricket?
Well, back in the day, I didn't get much encouragement to take on a life of or a future involving sport. My grandparents at the time seemed to think that it was all about education. So I kind of, didn't pursue it as vigorously as I may have. And so it was only when I got into the bank that I sort of got back on in terms of when the Scotiabank Kiddie Cricket program was rolled out, and I was asked if I was interested. So naturally I accepted. And I did have a pretty long stint there, along with people like Miss Delia Shalmine, who was the country champion at the time, and I took over from her at some point. And we eventually even formed a Scotiabank tape ball team. And that led on to us forming a new club called United Readers Club in conjunction with another team. So. And while at the bank as well, I was able to interact with people there who were really passionate about cricket. People like Steve Charles, even my predecessor, Mr. Julian Charles. I knew them at A-level college. So I was rubbing shoulders with those types of people all along. And eventually I received a call from one of my club members, Mr. Patrick Clark, who is one of the co-managers of United Raiders Cricket Club, along with myself and Lachman Prasad, as to whether I was interested in becoming involved in administration. And I said, well, let's check it out. And I went to a meeting. I was invited to an AGM of the Castries Cricket Association and was voted into office unopposed in 2016. And I continued there until, well, that would be about 3 years, which there's a term limit of 2 years. So I was voted back into office unopposed last year. And at that point, having had certain experiences while at Castries Cricket Association, looking on, seeing how things were done, having my own personal experience and whatnot, I eventually decided, hey, look, I want to go further and go higher up to see if I could impact positively and help in terms of a contribution to make things better for cricket and cricketers in St. Lucia.
We'll be using a lot of cricket, terminology and so on since we're talking cricket. I suppose when you look at the state of the game at the time, and it's St. Lucia cricket where we're at, and when you look at the pitch and the kind of conditions that we have and so on, you still, based on all of that, based on your experience with Castries, you figured still it can get murky, it can be a sticky wicket, but you still wanted to get into that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not one to shy away from a challenge. That's the nature of the man. And the way I was raised by my parents was that, hey, look, there's a song actually that my dad used to love. He's deceased now, 10 years. It's a song by Jimmy Cliff, and it's entitled You Can Get It If You Really Want. And he used to use all types of examples, anecdotes, to show us and teach us how, you don't just give up, So a challenge is not something I turn down very easily. And, based on the feedback, that was coming across in terms of what's happening at the national level, and as I said, the experience of myself as an administrator for one of the national affiliates at Castries, I decided, hey, look, this is an erstwhile activity to get involved in, and I want to make a contribution and make things better if I can. And
Jimmy Cliff has a song many rivers across as well.
Yes,
some without bridges, but our reality. All right, so you decided to get into it. So I know you have your vision plan and so on. So when you look at it and you're prepared to campaign and so on, and get your team together and decide, I really want to make a difference to cricket, make a contribution to St. Lucia, what would you say would be at the top of that vision plan that you had for you as president of the Cricket Association?
At the top of the plan and vision would be, the cricket itself, and starting at the grassroots level, because, you must understand and accept that this is where the future lies in the youth, in the grassroots programs. And so at the very top of the vision that we mapped out is the growth and development of grassroots cricket here. We have two notable, well, I should say 3 notable programs that are happening now, all under private ownership. We have Mr. John Eugene's Academy. We have Alton Crafton's well-known Northern Grassroots cluster. And there's also Mr. Cliver's Jules in the Mabuya Valley, who's doing his thing down there as well, 3 days a week. I was just on the phone with him today. And these gentlemen must be commended for the contribution that they have made. In terms of on a national level, there has been some work done, but it just seems to me as not being quite enough in terms of as an umbrella organization. Yes, you have grassroots happening by private owners. However, what are we doing at that level, to augment, and enhance? Yes, we had a kiddie cricket program going on, but that was launched and rolled out by Bank of Nova Scotia. So, and when you look further afield in terms of regionally and the West Indies team and the regional team and the way we perform, our brand of cricket is such that it's been dubbed Calypso cricket, but it's an attractive form of the game in terms of how we play. It's a very attractive brand, but it seems to me that there are certain basic there are certain basic aspects of an all-around cricketer that are missing, and for me, I think it is how mentally strong we are and focused. Now, sometimes you look on and you're watching a game, and you can see it at different points in the game. The decisions we make to play certain shots, or to do or not to do certain things, and you don't try to teach an old dog new tricks. So you have to start at the bottom, and you have to start with the grassroots. And given that our cricket is I would say ebbing on the low side right now, there is a need to expand and get as many kids involved in cricket as possible. And next, I would say that the women's cricket also needs a lot of attention. And we have people who have contributed and made their mark on the women's cricket development in St. Lucia.
Yeah, I want to get back to it in a while. I just want to, since we're on the grassroots, because we're going to go through it.
Oh, I see, okay.
So the grassroots program, I agree with you in terms of the kind of support. And I've always wondered why West Indies cricket, and I haven't really, to be honest, checked with the new president of West Indies cricket to see what their focus is. I know they mentioned, it's always mentioned, but whether you commit to it is a totally different thing, because I am aware of the grassroots programs in St. Lucia. I know there was one in Castries that Tyrone Harris was involved with as well.
Correct,
again,
yes, he did. I did mention it.
Most of these programs are horribly underfunded, and so you could see there's a great interest and passion from the kids who come to attend it, but you could see the coaches are struggling in terms of resources and so on. So, and I'm happy you have it at the top of the list. So that means that, and I know you probably have a challenge as well, like most cricket associations, in terms of funding for those programs, because right now, as you mentioned, we have 3 in St. Lucia. I didn't hear you mention down in Choiseul, and I'm not sure, there was one in the Vieux, I'm not sure it's still active and so on. But what I wanted to ask in terms of when you speak with WICB and Cricket West Indies and so on, how much focus, not just focus in terms of a document, but in terms of a list of tangibles, things that they plan to do for the grassroots program, because you need that kind of support?
Bernard, just this past Saturday, I attended a board meeting of the Windward Islands. And even in the lead up to the meeting, there was an announcement. Not what you want to hear. It's not, it doesn't at all inspire or lay any sort of, shall I say, encouragement in terms of, things getting better. The one and only program that was in place, okay, by the Windward Islands board, which is the kiddie cricket program, they had an announcement made that it's being shelved, it's being discontinued.
Wow.
What does that tell you? What do you make of that? So now it seems to me we here on the ground in St. Lucia have to find innovative ways and impress the right people, the partners around, government and private sponsors and so on. Hey, look, we have a direction, we have a vision, we have plans. We want to, highlight and improve our brand, and this is our strategic plan. We want you to come on board with us to give the sport, the discipline, the shot in the arm it needs to grow and to develop. So they are not very encouraging signs regionally or internationally for grassroots, unfortunately.
Because I was listening to a discussion, and we all followed the Under-19 World Cup tournament, and we'll talk about Kimani and the West Indies team in just a while. And they were talking about, I think, Japan played India, and we saw, expectedly. And they were saying, and they were talking about support. And India has been doing well. It hasn't been accidental. India's been doing well because of the vast investment in cricket at that level. And so the results are showing and manifesting now at a higher level.
Correct.
And it's also manifesting financially for them because they're a powerhouse in international cricket. And I've always wondered and always found it dismayed by the very lack of the lack of interest and support in kiddie program, the grassroots program, even by the West Indies Cricket, because they were funding the grassroots program that you mentioned that Alton was involved with, and I know the funding was cut, and then everything was, Alton had to basically, and I'm sure John Eugene is doing the same thing, and Clivers as well doing the same thing, raising their own funds, and I know it's difficult, but in terms of now government, I don't know how much interaction you've had with government, and we know we have cricket at the schools, and I can use Dame Pullet for an example. Dame Pullet is a quality school, but it has no cricket pitch. So how do you develop cricketers if you have, at the school that they go into, where they can probably play every day, no proper pitch? How much of a concern is that for you? And do you get a sense when you engage the ministry officials that that is an area that ought to be focused on?
Well, thankfully, we have to give credit to government because the under-15 program is run by them in the schools. So we are very thankful for that. National Cricket Association is on board in terms of endorsing and being partnering along with them, but they're the ones, government actually is who is funding and running the program, the under-15s. You asked about so far what interactions I've had. I did have a meeting late last year, December, with the Minister of Sports and his PS. And at that meeting, we touched on a number. They gave me time, and the meeting was prompted by something else, but then one particular matter, but then we used that opportunity to cover as wide as possible a range of, topics in terms of my plans, my vision, and I say in terms of I'm representing the National Cricket Association. And they were very encouraging, they were very complimentary, and we were advised, look, you need help, go away, come up with your proposals, and present them. Now, you'd appreciate that what that means and the way it sounds very easy. So what we are in the process of doing now is to do just that. Take our time and put together the various different proposals that we have in terms of developing grassroots, women, and trying to make happen the various different things we have under our vision with the help of government.
Like we said before the interview started, we'll have to have a series of interviews because there's so much we have to cover in cricket. There's even under the grassroots program because there's a lot of we need to focus on because I think if cricket is probably our biggest sport because Darren Sammy, Johnson Charles, and Craig and so on, these guys have established St. Lucia internationally more than any footballer has done and so on. So cricket is obviously for the Caribbean, is the biggest sport. And there is, from my end, a concern about our level of commitment to the development because you need to start at the very base of the cricket. Now, women's cricket is another area that you mentioned, and you have it number 2 as your priority as well. Talk to us about your approach to development of women's cricket. I guess most of it is similar to the grassroots situation, but give us an idea of what your thinking is.
Well, before moving on to that, I just want to add that cricket is the virtually the only sport that has put us in the region on the map. Hands down.
What track and field is doing is a bit through Usain Bolt
yes,
and so
I guess,
on.
I guess, yeah.
But in terms of establishing the Caribbean's
correct.
identity from early days of Clive Lloyd and so on, they certainly put us
on the global
notice.
Yeah, definitely. Women's cricket is, not as it's popular, yes, but we don't have that kind of strong following that we need. What I noticed so far is that there seems to be, there was a Winlot under 15 program running up until late last year, and that we are thankful for. So we got that help in terms of putting that program together. Mr. Brian Calix was doing the northern, if you want to call it that, aspect of it, and we had down in the south, Ms. Roylyn Cooper was assisting with doing it down in the south as well. But in terms of women's cricket, there are only 3 known teams that I can think of. So what does that say? Obviously, we need to expand on women's cricket and get more players involved.
And it's quite interesting because we've had the heritage. The Felicia,
yes,
we have people who have achieved at the highest level.
At the highest level,
So it's not like we have that kind of exposure.
That's
so, but
correct.
Go ahead,
Yeah. So basically, that's what it is. When women's tournaments are set up, there are not many teams that can take part in it. So that points certainly in the direction of, we need to expand, and there are ladies out there, but it's about trying to get them interested and involved. I have attended in preparation for the upcoming Winwoods women's tournament, which starts on the 1st of February, until the 6th of February, where we will have...
Right here in St. Lucia.
In St. Lucia, yeah, we're hosting. We'll have the 20 over format and the ODI format, 50 overs. That spectacle, is something you want to try and use to try and impress, our ladies here. And even in the lead-up and preparation, we have a lot of excited young ladies taking part in cricket, So I'm bolstered and encouraged by that. In terms of what I see happening when I come to observe training and the practice games, you can see the excitement is there. And there are a lot of them in the schools who would want to be involved in it. So it's obvious that we need to really try and target the schools. And as an association, there is a need for us to try to bring about, some sort of a program, to have an ongoing nursery where, we can get the ladies involved. And another huge factor which can make a telling difference in how our cricket develops here is the whole question of an academy. St. Lucia is the only Windward Islands country that does not have an academy. And I'm not talking about the sports academy at Grocery, I'm talking about a cricket academy.
Okay.
Right? So these are the points that, come to mind very easily. And we have people like Eugenia Gregg around who's been involved, who's gone places in terms of cricket. We have Miss Nadine George and all these people around who are willing to help. Since I acceded to the presidency, I've received calls from some notable people like Miss Carol Wilby Maxwell, who's interested in giving support. So the signs are good. It's about now putting the plans in place and then executing.
To me, everything starts at the school, and you have a kind of an active, captive audience at the schools. The girls are going to school together. The boys, if you're developing the boys, the girls can come in and at least get the basics in cricket. At least they get an early start. So by the time they decide later on, they would have an idea of what cricket is like, and so on. So that's good. And you also have insurance protection. I guess that one is, you can't debate that. Everybody needs to call it insurance.
I mean, it's on. You just have to think of some of the things that have happened, and you wonder, but boy, if you have people coming to play cricket and give their all, they purchase expensive gear. Yes, they love the game, but then they don't even get paid right now for participation in the game. And it was also quite, let's just put it that way, a bit interesting, I dare say a bit disappointing to learn that not even at a regional level is there any insurance protection.
Wow.
Although I might add that it's not all doom and gloom, because apparently there is, under the various different teams, they do have something in place when they go on tournaments. But in terms of having a plan in place, that is something I think is huge in terms of ensuring that players feel, they're appreciated, they're being taken care of. And not when a guy gets hit in the mouth and loses his teeth, he has to now wonder, boy, how he's going to go to work, continue working, and how he's going to pay for the expenses. So it's something that has come on a discussion before, even while I was at the Castries Cricket Association, and we have put it down as one of the areas that needs utmost urgent attention in terms of getting some kind of coverage. And we want to tie it up with maybe the other affiliate sports. So the way insurance works, from my investigation so far, is the bigger the pool, the bigger the number of people you have participating, it improves, what your premium and your premium numbers would be.
And you don't want to do things in silos. And in any case, some of those people who play different sport. So
Correct,
at least they get. Now I'll just run through your list. Like I said, we'll certainly have to engage you again. So you spoke about the academy, you spoke about club promotion, the affiliates. We'll have to have a discussion on affiliates as well, and regional committees. I guess you plan to revamp and so on.
Yeah, we have actually set up our committees.
So that's set up.
We had one meeting and we've done that.
Okay, and training and development is one area. I guess we touched on it a little bit in terms of one of the things, because what we need too, quality coaches and empowering and curators. Now we do have a world-class curator in St. Lucia who's going through the region, and so we already have that,
Going
quality
for us. Yeah.
person going for us, and we'll have to have a separate discussion on how we move forward on that. But I wanted to ask a little bit about the coaching and so on, because you need these young cricketers, especially at the schools, to get the best quality, or even the junior programs, the best quality coaches. What are your plans for the development, ongoing, continued development of coaches in St. Lucia, cricket coaches?
Well, we do have a calendar in draft at the moment. Work is going on it in terms of finalizing it. And we wanted to, first of all, include, the reason why it's still in draft is include more cricket, basically. And also to include the town halls that we want to do, to go around the country with the partners who have actually asked to be involved and be part of the town halls. And government has asked to be part of it. And even a sponsor, a notable sponsor, wants to come along with us. So in terms of getting somewhere as it relates to the improvements that we're speaking of, there's just so many different component parts. I'm Bernard, and it requires for us to really sit down with our committees, and we have a 3-man committee that is charged with developing women, youth cricket, and national and training. So the point here is, we have to take time to really sit down and thrash it out, and ensure that we come up with the plans and put them in place in terms of what we're going to have to do to make it happen.
Yeah, we spoke about curators a while ago, and I know that's one of the shortcomings of facilities around St. Lucia in terms of most schools, most playing fields. The quality of the pitch is suspect. Again, it's not entirely due to the fault. Most of these persons who are taking care of it would need the training, would need to have somebody like a Ken Crafton working with them almost on a daily basis to be able to get up to a particular level and so on. How critical is that? Because if you drive around, if you go to your own community of Miku right now, I'm sure the pitch doesn't exist at the moment. There's probably an area marked out for it, not too far from where you are, Grand Riviere. I mean, I saw the guys cutting grass on it yesterday. So talk to us about, because we're not getting quality pitches, and that affects the quality of the cricket.
Absolutely. And just to revisit the question you asked earlier a while ago, I think I may have missed in terms of answering directly. All of these, coaching and curators, we actually brought that up in our discussions with the Minister of Sports. And again, he's offered to provide support. Okay, so we are asked to prepare our proposals and present, so that we can get that support. There are coaching programs that are available, and they are actually on our calendar, the draft calendar that I mentioned earlier, for development of coaches. And the curator program, well, we are looking at it to see how we can move forward. We don't have any clear-cut, I can say, ideas yet, save for asking Mr. Crafton to help us out. But it is something that we've brought under scrutiny that we need to devise ways and means of improving. And as you quite rightly said, you need to have proper conditions on which to develop your players, your cricketers. What we've found is, for example, there just seems to be a bit of a disconnect between the partners, the people who are charged with developing cricket in the country. So that you find when you want to have a game, say at Mindlefield Park, for example, more often than not, you will find that there's a bit of a struggle. So you need to get, let's say, the grass cut at a certain or by a certain time. There seems to be a bit of an issue with getting that done diligently or reliably and at regular intervals, so that you can depend on coming to the venue, scheduling games there, and having the best conditions. And case in point is, I am using Mindu. There seems to be some issues with, say, the outfield and how high the grass is. So if you go there and play a match, you will more likely than not be tempted to go over the top.
Area.
Exactly, because the outfield seems to be
Yes,
almost always
unproductive,
heavy
yeah.
due to the level of grass. And those are the little things that can manifest themselves in big ways to affect what you're trying to do.
Right.
You understand? Because it sounds simple. Cut the grass a little lower
Yeah.
so that the ball runs off the surface. But then if it's going to be heavy, your batsmen are now finding, well, I play a nice shot,
And the ball is going
a
nowhere.
really lovely shot. The ball holds up in the outfield. Okay, I'm not getting value for my shot, so what do I have to do now?
Yeah, the one which is climbing.
You want to go over the top, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you miscue, and then you get caught. Are these the types of conditions in which to prepare and train your grassroots and young players? No. And given that you want your players to learn how to stay in, you really want to expose them to the right conditions. So we need Darren Sammy cricket grounds. And I was very happy to hear the minister indicate that there is going to be an improvement in the relations and in, facilitation for acquiring Darren Sammy cricket grounds in the future so that we can have our tournaments and other cricket activities there. Yeah.
Now, you used a couple of words, and like I know the minister used the words like support and so on, and as a solution, I've been wary of when somebody pledges support, which is all good and well, but we know. So we certainly need the minister and the ministry to make investments, because you're looking at your youth, you're looking at we talk about marketing and so on, marketing the country. Cricket is one way of marketing your country.
Definitely.
Kimani right now is doing a lot for St. Lucia, playing where he is representing St. Lucia. The guys keep mentioning Kimani from St. Lucia.
That's right.
You can't pay for that kind of marketing. And so when the minister and so on are talking about support, we always give support, but we need to make serious investments, because these are the youth of the country. These are the youth who can help boost the country's self-esteem. They do well internationally, and we feel proud about the guys performing internationally and so on. And for them too, is an income generation. So the word support, but we'll talk about that. I know you have to leave as well. Just a quick, we mentioned
That's
Kimani.
okay.
And like you said, we'll certainly have to have an ongoing conversation with you, because cricket
Yeah,
is a sport
yeah.
I think that we need to give a lot more attention. Kimani is doing
Definitely.
exceptionally well in South Africa.
Exceptionally well.
And for you,
so
seeing
happy.
a St. Lucian there,
Yeah.
participating at that level, what does it mean to you?
My goodness. I don't know if words can represent the feeling, knowing, what I post messages on social media. Sometimes I just say, I'm a proud Lucian. That's as simple as it gets. Kimani is an affable, very easy person to get along with. He's intelligent. And it's so good to see him performing on the world stage. Under 19 captain from St. Lucia. We have to give credit to people like Mr. Alton Crafton, who is his mentor, okay? And, in response to your question, what it means to me, hey, this is a prime time for us to make mileage out of Kimani's success. Use him as, that figurehead for the youngsters, the grassroots programs that we wish to set up. The younger kids, the older ones, hey, look, here we have Kimani out there. We already had Darren. Darren Sammy is well-known in the cricketing fraternity around the world already. We have people like Johnson Charles and many others, Gary Marthray and Keddy, and if I don't mention names, please forgive me.
There's
but
one player in Australia doing very well now.
yes, sorry, Dalton. Dalton Polius is doing very well down there, down under. So what Kimani does is that he's having, broken through. He's a breakout cricketer from St. Lucia. That is an excellent opportunity now for us to impress on all stakeholders, players, prospective sponsors, government, that look, there is a future for cricket and we need to make things happen. There's a project going on in Miku where the sword turning ceremony I attended and made some welcoming remarks there. And I was really perturbed to find out that cricket is not included in the design.
Wow.
Now, to me, that is missing out in a huge way. We are missing a trick right there, because that is a prime location right there on the highway. Like I said, I saw many prominent back in the day cricketers play there, and has always traditionally been a dual purpose venue. So I am, really determined to impact that process as much as possible to cause a turnaround and have cricket included in the design.
Yeah, it's not just that. I mean, and that's why I want to have that conversation with you and continue conversations as well, because let's face it. I mean, we've seen what cricket did for West Indians when they go to England and so on. We've seen what cricket has done for us internationally as a country.
Yep.
We've built a stadium because of cricket and so on. And to me, if you're looking at a sport that's part of us, that's our natural, that's our nature, and which can be played by everybody across the country. To me, it's almost like automatic that cricket is a key part, and then
it's almost cultural.
It's natural. It's cultural.
It's part of our psyche. It's there in our history. I mean, we were known to be dominant back in the day.
Yeah.
What has happened since then is the other countries have come along. They have come on in doing certain things that we probably have missed out on doing.
Yeah.
Set up academies and whatnot.
I mean, Japan is getting the picture.
Yeah.
China, I understand, is getting the picture as well. So why are we?
Cricket is everywhere,
It's everywhere now. It's global.
I mean, I have seen some video clips. I'm trying to remember which African nation where they just started cricket there, and even one of the South American countries. I think it's Mexico. The ambassador was on TV talking about the fact that they just started playing cricket.
Right. So we have to put it front and center in our national development.
Definitely.
It's just as important as tourism, because we talk about sports tourism and so on. We spend a lot of money on tourism and the jazz festival.
Yeah.
We need to create the facilities.
Because you tie them in.
Yeah, we'll certainly. So I'm happy we're talking about Kimani and how West Indies is doing pretty well. And we wish them all the best, and we hope that Kimani can bring the trophy. I'm very sure that he'll bring the trophy down when he comes, and that we give him more than just a welcome. Because even if you go to Barbados now, the school that he went to and Burgess, I mean, look at the facilities that he had to work with to be able to get to where he is. So that's a good reminder that we need more than support for this. As you mentioned, just this week too, we have cricket in St. Lucia, Windward Islands Volcanoes.
Yes, the Volcanoes are playing the Leeward Islands Hurricanes. It starts on the 23rd. It's free. It's at Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds.
And it's an evening, night?
Yeah, day night. It starts at 2, at 2 or 2:30, 23rd to the 26th. Okay, so we are encouraging all St. Lucians. Please come to attend, and bring your family, bring your friends. I don't want to be sounding off here about, the whole makeup of the team. What is important here now is we are where we are. We're looking to grow and develop and build. So even if we don't have a St. Lucian on the team, let's not make that a reason for us not to support it.
It's our wake-up call.
Exactly.
Let's change it from now on.
So we have work to do.
Yeah.
Let's look forward. Let's move forward, and but let's get the support. Let's come and enjoy the game. It's free.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll certainly discuss that point. And you mentioned earlier on that the Windward Islands Women's Tournament is from the February 1st as well.
To the 6th, correct.
To the 6th in St. Lucia. So there's more cricket coming up. So we hope that a lot of the schools will patronize it as well.
Yes.
And then there's the United Insurance. Normally we have every year cricket, the schools cricket. That should be coming up around now as well. I'm not sure, probably later on in the year. But there's a program that was sponsored by United Insurance, I think. But I suppose we'll get some more details when that. Because I'm not sure there's been an announcement.
No, I haven't heard anything.
Because Kimani went through that program as well.
Okay.
Before Elizabeth Bristol and his fellows giving very strong support.
Okay.
For that cricket program as well. And then we're hosting South Africa later this year. Or somebody we're hosting. There's a St. Lucia's hosting. I think I saw West Indies cricket post.
Yes, I don't have the exact information with me now. I do know that there is a calendar presented for cricket activities, games rather, that would be coming to St. Lucia between now and 2022. And the Sri Lankans are supposed to be here, and we might be in for a game with the English, a tournament with the English, or games with the English down in 2022, thereabouts. Okay, but these are announcements that we'll be making later, because we did receive, or we were copied in on communication to our minister to sign off on a value proposition that we have to follow up on and find out whether it was completed. Yeah.
But the CPL is still here.
I don't know that I can say I can say that at this point. That is something that we will have to verify.
Yeah, but if it is something that we need to use as well to help create avenues for cricketers as well.
Yes.
And that's certainly a discussion we need to have. And I guess the next time we'll meet, we'll have a clearer picture on the CPL situation and the St. Lucia Zooks. Carol, I really appreciate your time. We didn't even get a chance to talk about music because that's how I got to know you, first of all, through music and through your band in Miku as your keyboard player.
Yes, I do think I'm a keyboard player.
Right, but you are because you play keyboards at the church.
Yes,
even as you speak at La Clery and so on. So
well, actually, I play a bass guitar there.
Oh, bass, so you give up the keyboard?
Because I haven't given it up either.
Okay.
My first love was the bass guitar, actually.
Okay.
But when we formed the band back in Miku, back in the day, there was need for a keyboard player.
Okay.
Now, I did, mess around on a keyboard with my friend, who I started out in music with, Mr. Rupert Lee.
Okay.
We basically learned together guitar, but we used to mess around on a keyboard as well. So yeah, that's where my musical genesis.
And a quick shout out to
from.
Rupert Lee. He's an excellent guitarist.
Oh yeah,
exceptional
absolutely,
guitarist.
Yes.
Yeah, I really love his style, and so on. I haven't seen him for a while, but I know Rupert Lee is a quality guitarist in St. Lucia. Carol,
you nailed it.
Yes, Carol, it's so good to talk to you. And like I said, we want to have a continuing discussion because we really think cricket is part of our makeup as Caribbean people, and I think we ought to put it front and center. I'm not saying anything about the football is widely loved. It's a global sport, but I think what's unique to us and what's part of our DNA is cricket, and I think we need to give cricket the attention it deserves. And I'm also urging parents that includes myself, parents of young cricketers or friends, come support the cricketers when they're having their activities, whether it's in school or in the community and so on, or as you mentioned with the volcanoes and also the women's tournament that's coming up pretty shortly in St. Lucia. So we certainly want to see massive support for that as well. Carol, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Bernard. In parting, let me just mention to our viewers out there that at some point we will be coming around to an area near you.
Yes, you have town halls.
We are for the town halls.
Right.
We would like to see, that kind of participation and involvement. You come and talk to us and voice your concerns, represent your needs and your vision for the various different communities out there. And we, as I said, we have a plan to, host many, more than your normal number of tournaments that we had in the past. And that is how we hope to, engender, influence, catalyze the development and improvement in our cricket and cricketers. Because we definitely need them to play more cricket on better conditions as well.
Quality conditions. And very quickly you mentioned 16, so meeting town halls in 16 districts. So you're going throughout St. Lucia? Yeah,
some of them we will combine, so for example, when we go to Miku, we will try to combine Deriso and Miku, so for efficiency. And of course, there's a cost to all these things as well. So, we try to combine them, but make them really effective.
And very quickly, because we need to wrap up, you mentioned fundraisers, and I have been lamenting for a while, probably I'm shopping in the wrong places, that I'd like to get a West Indies cap or West Indies shirt or St. Lucia shirt. I can just walk into a store and buy one. Is there any legal or any legal hurdles that's preventing, like if I want to sell those shirts or if you want to sell it as a fundraiser?
Well, yes. Actually, I broached that subject at a board meeting once because it's really struck me as odd that, look, I'm coming to view a game at Darren Semi-Cricket Grounds between England and West Indies. The English are there with all their apparel. You could buy any number of different, pieces, but there's not one item for the West Indies fan to purchase. And that I felt really let down by.
And sports teams make a huge amount of money from merchandise.
Exactly. So I did inquire, and the feedback I got was something along the lines of what you just said, that they will. But I'm just saying that,
they can get over it.
That's not an insurmountable, thing to get over. So, we need to do something about that. If we're having cricket at our grounds here, there needs to be, a place where you and I can go and pick up a shirt or a cap or whatever it is. And it's as simple as that. So
buy anything Arsenal or anything, any team as well. I know which team you support. I don't support Arsenal, but I can get it. Carol, certainly good to speak with you, and we'd like to wish you all the best and look forward to having further conversations with you again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that.
This is Calabash TV. We appreciate you being here with us. Join us again next week as we continue our conversations on critical issues of national development in St. Lucia.
This is The Reality Show.